Hey everybody, today we're going to jump into the world of monitors. I'm going to go over some of the features that make monitors useful for photographers and videographers. And then we're going to look through this specific monitor to see some of the features you may like firsthand and then what you should look for in the monitor yourself. So let's dive in. For For demo purposes today, we have an F700 monitor from Neewer. This is a 7-inch monitor that they've sent us for review. This video is not sponsored, so all thoughts are our own. So there are 5 main features, I think personally, that make a monitor useful for anyone out there, especially for those of you who do video. So first off, you can see it's obviously a large screen. Monitors typically come in either a 5-inch or 7-inch setup. This F700 is a 7-inch variety. Most monitors, if not all of them, have a 1080p preview. So even though you're filming in 4K, 8K, whatever, the monitors will show typically a 1080p view. Another great feature of getting a monitor is the ability to view the monitor in lots of awkward or more interesting places. For example, you might be filming in a scenario where you don't exactly have a great viewing angle, so you could use a monitor, for example, tilt it down or upwards so you can get more interesting angles without having to go through a whole rigmarole to see what is on the camera. Additionally, in a setup like this, you can see the monitors actually facing the front of the camera. It's really useful in setups like this. I usually actually have the monitor mounted on top of the camera we're recording from, which allows me to better see what's in the scene and from afar on a 7-inch monitor, see exactly what is in frame. For those of you who are growing content creators and you're trying to film in setups like this, a monitor is a great tool to make your setup easier for you to record and see what's going on. Making sure things are in focus are truly important for all of us. In scenarios where you might not be able to double check your focus, for example, in a scenario like this where I'm shooting from afar, you can use the monitor and set up your peaking so you can see what's in focus. This allows you to see in either a red, green, or other color quickly what sections of a object are in focus, which allows us to easily determine if we have the right focus points, if we have to change aperture or other settings to make sure everything we want is in focus. Additionally, you can use something like magnification on a monitor to help you zoom in a little extra on your previews to make sure things are looking great. Monitors come with a variety of exposure tools. Features like false color, zebras, histogram, these allow for precise exposure adjustments, ensuring well-balanced highlights and shadows. On a monitor like this F700, we can easily do that through the buttons or the touch screen so that we can check on or off all the different visibility like histogram that we want while we're filming. One of my favorite tools is the ability to preview LUTs as you're filming. Many of you who are getting into more of a high-end videography typically end up moving into log. Well, you may have a log visual assist or something of that nature, which actually has it preview in, for example, like Rec 709. But if you use a lot of color grading, you can actually preload your color grade and LUTs onto something like this F700. So you can preview your log footage in your final format to show you while you're filming if everything's looking as you would like it to. Last and not least, collaboration is an important tool in photo and video, especially if you have a group of collaborators on a project, perhaps a marketing team, some of the talent who want to preview or live view some of the video footage as you're filming. Well, having a monitor allows all of those involved to easily see the screen without having a bunch behind the tiny screen of your camera. You might also find it useful in a setup like this to actually have the HDMI feed additionally go from the monitor to an external TV so that you can have multiple points of visibility. So you can have the back screen, the monitor, and a larger screen so people can actually see what's going on and your project can go smoothly. So if you're looking for a straightforward monitor, we're going to look at something like this Neewer F700, which is positioned as kind of a straightforward, no-nonsense monitor that has a lot of the features that you're going to need for someone looking for a monitor. So let's take a look at what something like the F700 comes with in the box. This Neewer F700 comes with the monitor, in addition, a monitor mount. Next up, batteries. This specific monitor comes with two NPF 750 batteries. These batteries are a fairly standard use battery across the industry. These NPF 750 batteries are rated to go 2.4 hours each on this setup. The F700 comes with two USB Type-C cables, an HDMI to HDMI mini, an HDMI to HDMI standard, and an HDMI to micro HDMI. My Canon R5 Mark II uses a standard HDMI, so we have that set up currently on our camera. You can see the cage is mounted with the mount here. We have the monitor currently on the mount that is provided, which fits into the hot shoe on our cage. If you're curious about the specs of the F700, let's dive into that. This monitor comes in at a nice and large 7-inch IPS format, which displays at 1080p, which is pretty standard for monitors, as I mentioned before. Brightness is 2000 nits, which is very good. It has a 160-degree viewing angle and has touchscreen built in. If touchscreen isn't your thing, there are physical buttons on this camera also. This monitor comes with a 4K loop, which means it can intake a 4K HDMI signal and output a 4K HDMI signal. Even though the monitor itself actually displays at 1080p, that just means that it can pass through the 4K image and video to perhaps an additional monitor like a TV if you need it. And many monitors offer that option where you have a 3.5mm jack. You can use standard earphones to listen to the audio directly through the monitor. Powering this monitor is pretty straightforward. You can either plug in a DC in of 12 volts, which is not included. I have a V-mount currently set up that is running a USB-C into the monitor itself. A V-mount also has the ability typically to power through DC, but if it's using USB-C, you don't need to get fancy that way. In addition, obviously comes with the two NPF 750 batteries, so you can use that for up to 2.4 hours each. Comes with the ability to attach both batteries on the back there, so you can get close to 5 hours of video use out of this. Personally, I like using the batteries when I want a lightweight setup, but if this is mounted, I typically actually have the V-mount set up so I can charge the monitor and not have to stress out about batteries. So what about the monitor itself? Let's take a look at some of the options in something like this and what you might want to look for. The monitor has exposure, focusing, and composition assistance functions. Things like false color, zebras, histogram, waveform, vector scope, full waveform, HDR, and single color. You can also do something like focus peak, center markings, safety markings, ratio markers, and grid lines. So you can make sure that your shots are all lined up as you like. Audio bars are pretty standard in devices like this. These options are all easily accessible if you swipe up, or you can edit the menu to have all your quick options available as you like. Personally, focus peak is a huge one for me. I also found things like grid lines helpful when you have to shoot wide, but you also want to make sure that you can format for vertical as well. For those of you who love using LUTs and color grading all of your footage, a device like this allows you to really preview all of that color grade live while you're filming, which is really helpful to see if your composition and coloring are all going to work together well without getting to your computer and realizing perhaps you didn't shoot the best footage for your color grade style. So how was this specific monitor for us? We actually used it in a couple different scenarios, especially with our friend Isaac, who was filming some different food photography photos. We used the monitor to better view what we were doing. When having multiple people on set shooting, it really helps to have a larger monitor so we could all see what was going on. In this specific scenario, we were both trying to perfectly time the shutter of one camera while Isaac actually tried to dunk a cookie inside of some milk. In addition, we also had it set up so we can do some different pouring shots and have different interesting food layouts so we can get a cool shot without having a crowd around a monitor and easily preview it before we shot. The F700 was an easy monitor to use with the buttons or the touchscreen. The build quality feels great and the monitor does all the main things you'd like a monitor to do. Some of the pros for me are this monitor is cost effective and well built. It's straightforward and easy to use, and it's a nice and bright monitor. As far as cons for the F700, some monitors allow you to control the camera from the actual monitor, Although this is a rare feature, that is something that I think would be really handy for you to use. Usually you have to pay a large premium for a feature like that. So although I'm listing it as a con, it's not exactly a feature that I'm probably going to use that much. So I don't think I would justify spending the extra expense on a monitor that can do that. Another feature that is a nice to have is the ability to externally record. Although I don't hugely need to externally record, it's a nice feature to be able to record the back screen and some other functionality like that. It's not a deal breaker for me as I'm pretty much a straightforward video shooter, so all the features that are in this one are probably the ones that I'm more likely to use from day to day. The F700 has all those features that you will actually use day to day. So if you're looking just for a clear, responsive monitor that does the job, the F700 is probably perfect for you. This is a 7-inch monitor, and they do have an F500 monitor, which is a 5-inch version. I haven't used that one personally below, but if you're looking for something a little more compact, you can check out that on Neweer's website or other reviews on YouTube. What does this cost? So in Canadian, this is $489, and in US dollar, it's $299. Neewer products often go on sale, so you can probably get this for a lot more discounted than those listed prices. You can check out the links below in the caption, which link to both Neewer's website and Amazon. You can see some of the sales that are currently going on, and I'll try to keep that link up to date with whatever's going on. If you think this monitor is right for you, consider using the links down below, as using our affiliate links really helps the channel out. If you have any questions about this monitor or you're curious about some more of the use cases that I've had and some of our experiences, don't be shy to reach out and ask your questions down below, and I'll do my best to answer them as soon as possible. As always, thank you for watching. If you like this video, please give it a like. If this helped, please subscribe, and we'll have more of these videos coming soon. Till the next time, have a good one.